Hey gang, we're in here. Welcome on back to the Cade and the start of our newest playthrough. And we figured since it's been about 2-3 months since we wrapped up our Dark Souls remastered bonus playthrough, but it's been about a year since we've done an actual content playthrough of a game that is more in line with the edict that we have for this channel. What better way than to carry on in a series that we actually started well over 3 years ago when we played the original Metal Gear. And then about 11 months ago we decided to play Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. So what else are we gonna do but let's keep this tradition going and play what is hands down one of, if not my absolute favorite game of the original PlayStation era from 1997/1998. If you don't know what we're playing by this point, you're in the wrong part of the world, because we are playing Metal Gear Solid.
They're demanding that the government turn over the remains of Big Boss. And they say that if their demands are not met within 24 hours, they'll launch a nuclear weapon. You'll have two mission objectives. First, you're to rescue DARPA Chief Donald Anderson and the president of Armstech, Kenneth Baker. Both are being held as hostages. Secondly, you're to investigate whether or not the terrorists have the ability to make a nuclear strike. Stop them if they do.
What's the insertion method?
We'll approach the disposal facility by sub.
And then?
We'll launch a one-man SDV. After the SDV gets as close as it can, dispose of it. From there on, you'll have to swim. High-tech Special Forces Unit FOX-HOUND. Your former unit, and one that I was a commander of.
So they're still around.
There are 6 members of FOX-HOUND involved in this terrorist activity. Psycho Mattis, with his powerful psychic abilities. Sniper Wolf, the beautiful and deadly sharpshooter. Decoy Octopus, master of disguise. Vulcan Raven, giant and shaman. And Revolver Ocelot, specialist in interrogation and a formidable gunfighter. And finally, in charge of them, FOX-HOUND's squad leader, Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake?
The man with the same codename as you. The nuclear weapons disposal facility covers the whole island. I'll instruct you by codec after you reach your target.
Anyone going with me?
As usual, this is a one-man infiltration mission.
Weapons and equipment OSP?
Yes. This is a top-secret black op. Don't expect any official support.
So this is a game that I have gone back and played. It's on my short list of games I play every 12 to 24 months. During good times. And it is probably one of a handful of games that when it came out, when I got word that Konami was creating Metal Gear Solid, I was beyond psyched. Because again, having been a kid who grew up playing the original Metal Gear on the NES, which I only found out in later years wasn't actually the original version of Metal Gear, it was one that had been adapted for American audiences. And as we highlighted when we did Metal Gear 1 and 2, we had to get those versions off of the bonus disc for Metal Gear Solid 3. But to think back now, over 25 years, and thinking about the idea that we were going to have a 3D game that highlighted stealth and tactical ability rather than being like another Doom or Quake clone or something like that. Not to say that those games are bad, but by the time Metal Gear Solid came out, we had quite a glut of first-person shooters. But that Hideo Kojima was going to come up with something like this seemed truly mind-blowing.
This is Snake. Colonel, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. What's the situation, Snake?
Looks like the elevator in the back is the only way up.
Just as I expected. You'll have to take the elevator to the surface. But make sure nobody sees you. If you need to, contact me by codec. The frequency is 140.85. When you want to use the codec, push the select button. When we need to contact you, the codec will beep. When you hear that noise, press the select button. The codec's receiver directly stimulates the small bones of your ear. No one but you will be able to hear it.
Got it. Okay, I'm ready to go.
And just like that, we get dropped right into the action. So, if you have never played Metal Gear Solid, one, then you should stop this video right now and get into playing it yourself. At this point, there's so many variations of it and so many versions of it available on so many different consoles that it is not hard to find. But primarily what you have to worry about is being able to navigate your way around areas without getting spotted by guards. And to do that, that's where being able to lean up against walls and being able to see around certain areas becomes your best friend. Now, to be able to get under obstacles or be able to crawl your way through areas, you can duck down and use what's called the action button. In this case, it's the A button on my controller. I think it's the X button on a PlayStation. I definitely want to back up because in this area, since I'm not able to have any weaponry yet,
What was that noise?
and I've already been found, and I've already died once. So very quickly you can find yourself in a position where you're immediately down and having to start over. So pick up the ration again. And like I was telling a friend of mine the other day, who we were having a conversation about video games and how easy it is to find yourself getting too far into games these days. Where you can, because you can spend so many hours playing them. Whoa, look out. That if you spend so much time playing a game like this,
Snake, there's an elevator.
yeah, I know there's an elevator to get me up here. Alright, so now I just gotta sit here behind this forklift and wait for the elevator to come down, because it's not here yet. But as I was saying, it's one where, because I have gotten out of the habit of playing this game as often as I used to when I was younger. Part of the fun in going back and revisiting a game like this is remembering the difficulty involved. There's going to be another guard here. And we've successfully managed to make it up. And I fully expect that by the time this playthrough is over, I will have died considerably more times than I did when I was really at my peak in playing this game. Now, like most playthroughs, I'm not playing this with the idea of getting a 100% playthrough. I'm sure that there are a million 100% playthroughs and speed runs and all that stuff that you can find on YouTube. I am playing this as a revisitation of it and to see how well it has aged. Because again, it's been a quarter of a century now since this game first hit consoles back in 1998. And because it's a game that is still considered one of the great video games of all time, it sold 7 million copies worldwide and still has an aggregate ranking of 94 out of 100 on Metacritic. But the interesting thing for me will be to find out if it still holds a lot of its novelty, if it's still one that can hold my interest and get all the way through the end of it like it did when I was 25 years younger, I was in my early 20s, and was so psyched for when it came out. Now, granted, you look at it graphically now, and yeah, it's not as sharp as current generation games by far, and yes, I do know that they tried and did release a, quote, remastered version of Metal Gear Solid
Excellent, Snake.
2 and Metal Gear Solid 3, but I've also heard so much bad stuff about those games that because the graphics were not as overhauled as we anticipated they were going to be, that I'm fine playing the original PlayStation version of it.
An anti-freezing peptide, Snake. All of the genome soldiers in this exercise are using it.
I see. I'm relieved to hear that. Already tested, huh? By the way, how's the diversionary operation going?
2 F-16s just took off from Galena and are headed your way. The terrorist radar should have already picked them up.
Now, the other knock on this game is that, and it was really prevalent in Metal Gear Solid 2, especially, but also in parts of Metal Gear Solid 3,
Colonel,
that it
what's a Russian gunship doing
became much more of like an interactive movie, and in a lot of ways became the meme for you play a game for 2 minutes, sit around and get 20 minutes of cutscenes, and play for another 2 minutes, get 20 minutes of cutscenes, and that's what these sorts of games turn into. And you can say the same thing, I guess, all the way through Metal Gear Solid 4, which I have played, but honestly, it was so long ago, I don't really have much memory of it. And Metal Gear Solid 5, Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain, which I started, but I never finished it, in part because Konami, having broken off their relationship with Hideo Kojima, gave us a game that didn't have a finish to it.
Hours left until their deadline.
I've gotten through like 3/4 of that game, but because I know there's not a final mission in it and there's no real ending to it.
Oh, sorry.
Or at least not the ending that Kojima originally intended.
She was assigned to us as our visual and data
I never
processing
saw it all the way
specialist.
through.
She designed your codec, as well as your Soliton radar system. Contact her if you have any questions about either of them.
Nice to...
So I'm just going to jump through this because this is all introductory stuff to the other characters that we will have in this game. So Mei Ling is the one that we will be going to when we want to save our file, which we'll be doing in about 15 minutes. Again, we want these episodes to be about every 15 minutes or every half an hour in length. So we'll see if we can get through this and back to the action. So now we will go up on this ridge, and he'll take a look with his binoculars, and we will get a little bit of reconnaissance on what we're looking at here on Shadow Moses Island.
It's the fastest way, but there's too much risk of being spotted by the enemy.
So we can go in through the main
knock on
door.
the door and ask them to let me in. There's one sentry on the left and one on the right. They're armed with 5.56ers and pineapples.
So we've got guards we're going to have to take out, but we don't have any weaponry at this point.
What about the air duct near the door? There should also be a duct on the second floor.
Now there is one up there.
I can't see it from here.
But in order to get up that way,
I'll let
it is
you
more
decide
difficult.
the best COA. I'm counting on you, Snake.
So now we are able to start moving again. So if we want to change the items, obviously your R2 changes your weaponry, L2 changes your secondary items. So you can, right now the moment I go with cigarettes, or I can use my scope, or I can go with rations. I'm not going to worry about it. And then triangle is really helpful in this game, or the Y button on an Xbox controller, because now you can go first person and see what all is around. So what I need to be able to do is I need to navigate my way past these search beams. And there is a camera right here.
A surveillance camera?
That I have to be very careful of. So the guard is over there sleeping. Now there is something here in the middle of these searchlights. If I can run and time it right. Ah! Except I got seen. It's not what I wanted. That was too close. Knock him out. And I got killed. So I was trying to hit the chaff grenades that are there in the middle of that field, or the landing pad. And that is how fine a line you have to walk here. Is that if these lights see you, yep, and I got picked off again. So it's better off just to run and stay out of the way. But now that I've got the chaff grenades and I can come in here, lob one of these puppies in there, and it takes out my
camera?
radar, but now I'm able to see where I'm going. But now we'll crawl into this hidey hole and get away from that guard. I won't worry about the call. But now we've managed to get ourselves into Shadow Moses' station.
Snake, this is McDonald Miller. It's been a long time.
Master, what are you doing here?
I quit being a drill instructor, so I moved out here for some peace and quiet. I'm in
Did you know?
retirement, just like you. Once in a while, I still help train the Alaskan scouts.
Passing on the skills to a new generation, huh?
Campbell told me about the situation here. I thought I might be of some use.
There's no one I'd rather have in a foxhole than you.
Well, I know lots of...
So he's going to teach me about everything I need to know regarding the Alaskan wilderness in which I find myself trying to navigate through. And while it's helpful to have him, he's not a character that I ended up going with very often for stuff. And as the story unfolds, we'll obviously get more information about everybody who we deal with on the Kodak. So everyone from Naomi to Mai Ling to Miller to everybody. And that's also part of the fun of this game, was being able to see the mystery get uncovered. And understand how this all works. Now, the only problem is that we get a lot of phone calls here in the early part of this game.
Good.
Which are more annoying than anything. But what I am needing at this point is I need to get up to the upper floor. Now, as long as I'm sitting under this tank, the guards can't see me. But the second the perspective changes and you get a top-down view of me, and then I am now visible to everybody else. And we got a camera here. If we time it right and then get right under it, then it can't see us. And now we're out of range of the camera. But now that we're going over this gantry, we've got to be careful because we could potentially be seen by the guards on the ground. Which is why you have to crawl across it. So we've got another camera that's sitting in this corner. We can get under it. And we have ourselves a pistol. So we got ourselves our trusty SOCOM. And there's a guard in this next room if we're not careful. We got the chaff grenades. There we go. And we go up the ladder. I always have to remember that the A button, while that allows you to crouch down and be able to move and be able to do certain things, the B button is still your action button, or the circle button on a PlayStation controller. And again, having been a while since I've played this game, it does take some getting reacclimated to.
Cell in the first floor basement.
What about the vent shaft cleaning?
They just opened the vent covers. They're about to start spraying for rats.
First floor basement ventilation shaft.
Shut those covers as soon as they're done spraying. Also, keep your eye on that woman in the cell. Don't get careless now.
Woman in the cell?
Did something happen?
There's an intruder.
Really?
He's already done 3 people.
He's killed 3 people?
Yeah. Say he's using stealth, too.
Stealth? There's an intruder besides me?
Anyway, I want you to increase the security
So now there's
detail on the
somebody
chief.
else in the building we got to worry about, but who that is, I have no idea at this point. We can't go out that way. And then this brings us all the way back out into the snow. So this is where if we'd been able to make it up to the top before, then we could have gotten in this way. Now here comes that guard. He's going to stay right on that corner. At least he's supposed to. All right, so we'll head back in. Because we're at about half an hour. So we'll get back around to where we came down, or came up the ladder, I should say. And then the next order of business is to find the DARPA chief, which means we've got to be able to get down to the basement. And we've got to find the elevator that will take us there. And it's on this floor. But we're going to have to go past more guards, evade those cameras, and we'll be able to get there. Now, some people are going to look at this and go, why are we having to crawl through air vents like this? This is tedious, this is boring. Ooh, we got rations over there. Nope, we are stocked up. And I won't worry about that Kodak call, because most likely that's something I already know. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to use a chaff grenade really quick. Jam this camera. Can't go in that door. And we've got the guard sitting here, so we'll get by him. Now, if I remember right, there's the elevator right there. So all we got to do is get back down the stairs, evade the guards, summon the elevator, and as long as we can get in there without getting picked off, then we should be fine. So let that guard go by. Wait for the camera to sweep back around. As long as we get right under it. Now we're standing right here, and how this guard does not see us, I have no idea. Alright, we want basement 1. And this will take us down to hopefully where the DARPA chief is. So we'll call it good here since we're about 33 minutes in. And we're currently safe and sound in this elevator and nobody's going to find us. So what we'll do in the next episode is we've got to figure out where the DARPA chief is. And looking at the map, I'm suspecting he's probably over where we're seeing that static in the room adjacent to us here on the left. So, again, with this game, I don't know how many episodes it's going to take to do our playthrough. We're going to obviously get it until we are done, and then give our overall assessment of it afterwards. But, as always, if you've been enjoying the content, best way you can enjoy it, hit that like button, subscribe if you are new, and ring the bell to be notified of new episodes as they post. Our goal is to get episodes put out 1 to 2 days a week for this playthrough, and then we'll continue to do Sports Saturday and Sucker Punch Sunday on the weekends. That means our one-day playthroughs and WTF Wednesday are going to go on hold for a little bit. As we've said, it's only because these playthroughs tend to be a bit more labor-intensive, and we want to make sure that we don't overwork ourselves in putting this stuff together as we're trying to do this alongside having our day jobs and other things of essential life work that we need to do. But in the meantime, my name is Ronan. It has been great to spend this first episode of our playthrough of Metal Gear Solid with you. Be safe, be well, happy gaming. We will talk to you in the next one as we start to uncover more of the grand conspiracy in the storyline of Metal Gear Solid. Bye.